50%. 50% of the time, I do not want to get out of this bed. 50% of the time, I do not want to do the tasks that you're about to see me do today, and all of the tasks that you've seen me do day in and day out for this whole entire month. 50% of the time, I don't want to do these things. 25% of the time, I'm enthusiastic about doing these things. The other 25% of the time, I'm neutral. Today's a 50% day. Alright, today is a 50% day. I really don't feel like doing any of this stuff at all, bro. So why am I doing it? Why do I have the discipline to do these things that you're about to see me do, even when I don't want to? Because you know I'm going to do them, and I'm going to show you myself doing them. But where do I find this discipline from? Well, it's the same reason why I do NoFap. Right? I find this discipline from the same exact source. And that is, I guess I have to get out of bed to show you this, but this one right here. Okay, that is my source of, I'm getting back in bed. That's my source of discipline and motivation. Now, what do I mean by that? So, I've been thinking a lot about this. I've been thinking about why some people really struggle to do NoFap and some don't, including my younger self. There were seasons of my life where NoFap was really, really easy for me, and there were seasons where it was really, really difficult. What was the difference? I don't think it was my discipline level, because as I've said before, all of these tasks that you see me doing, I've been doing them day in and day out. But when it comes to a practice like NoFap, what makes NoFap any more achievable or less achievable for one person compared to another? I think it comes down to this one thing right here. Alright, let me zoom in so that you can really, really pay attention. Don't look at me though, don't look at me. But the reason why NoFap is so easy for some people is because they're doing it for a reason that is greater than them. Right? That's pretty much what it's always going to come down to. If you're doing NoFap just for yourself, just for your own personal gain or benefit, I don't think it's sustainable. I do not think it's sustainable. Maybe if you really, really, really love yourself and you don't have any sort of limiting beliefs surrounding your potential, then that might work for you. But I personally believe, and this is just my experience now, so you take it with a grain of salt, but I personally believe that NoFap is achievable and sustainable if and only if you are using it to work towards something or to work for something greater than yourself. When I was younger, NoFap was extremely easy for me because in my mind, NoFap meant that I could expand my brand, which meant make more money, and then I could use that money to purchase material items that I could use to flex on the people that had rejected me when I was younger. Right? And it's a shallow reason, and I actually did achieve these goals. So that's why I know that they're shallow, because they brought no fulfillment. But nevertheless, I did achieve the goal. And that's in large part due to NoFap. And even more so, this also proves my point that you have to do it for something greater than yourself. Even though the reason was shallow, it was still a reason that went beyond just me and my own personal benefit. I was doing it to flex on somebody else or some other people. Now, once I achieved that, the motivation pretty much dissipated overnight because, for one, I achieved the goal, and secondly, I realized that it didn't bring me any fulfillment. And it took me a long time to find another thing that I could attach my NoFap journey to. And that thing is now my relationship. Now, let's not get it twisted, okay? You don't have to do NoFap if you're on a relationship. And truthfully, if I'm being completely honest with you, if you have a girl, you probably know this. Girls don't really understand why we do NoFap, right? They don't really understand the benefits of it. And I think that's because we're just wired differently, right? And it's not so much about ambition. It's more so that we're just biologically different. And so them doing NoFap might not necessarily give them the same benefits that us doing NoFap gives us. But for example, okay, with NoFap, I truly believe that it makes you more masculine. What does that mean? What does it mean to be more masculine? I don't mean that in the cringe, toxic masculinity, stoicism type of way. No, although stoicism is somewhat of a byproduct of NoFap, because you kind of learn to desexualize your mind. I'll make a whole separate video about that in the near future. But I think that true masculinity is having the capacity and the willingness to walk your own path with confidence. Meaning that you don't necessarily become a leader, but you stop being a follower. And I feel like for me, I have that trait naturally, but NoFap simply enhances it. NoFap is kind of like creatine for the mind. I'm going to make a whole separate video about creatine, okay? Stay tuned for that. But if you've taken creatine, then you can probably see the analogy. NoFap is sort of like creatine for your mind in that it helps you accelerate the results that you would otherwise be getting anyways from doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. So, as I've said many, many times throughout these past, 10 days, I think? I don't even know. Throughout the month. These are the things right here that actually move the needle. NoFap doesn't move the needle for me. Okay, it's these tasks right here that are actually creating the change in my life. What NoFap allows me to do is, NoFap allows me to do those tasks with more presence, more intention, more energy, and more discipline. Simply put, I would do the tasks whether I was on NoFap or not, but NoFap allows me to do them with a lot more oomph. I don't really have a better word for that, but just more of that. Okay, it allows me to do my tasks with more gusto, or whatever you want to call it. And more importantly, it keeps me focused on the other side of those tasks. Why I'm doing these tasks. Okay, the real reason why I'm doing NoFap, the real reason, to my point earlier, is my girlfriend. It's not even my girlfriend, it's my relationship. Okay, as you may or may not know, if you've been following the vlogs, then you know my general romantic situation, which is that I'm in a long distance relationship. And if you're in a long distance relationship, you tell me if I'm lying about this, but truthfully, the only reason why long distance relationships even exist is because of money. Financial constraints. Okay, because one or the other, or both, have financial constraints which prevent them from being physically together. That's what it comes down to, especially when you have intercontinental long distance relationships like me and my girlfriend have. And I'm not saying that I'm just trying to get to a bag and that's my only goal. I do feel like if that's your only goal, then you'll always fall short. But that is a peripheral goal that I have. Okay, I feel like for me, I would be lying to you and I'd be lying to myself if I said that I wasn't trying to get to a bag off of these NoFap vlogs and all of the things that I'm currently working on. Now, my thing is this. I don't think there's anything wrong with aspiring to get to a bag, provided that you're providing value to people. Which, I mean, you tell me if I'm not providing value to you, but from what I can tell, I'm providing massive value, not just through these vlogs, but through the things that I'm currently working on behind the scenes. And I'm saying this to say that making a lot of money is a goal of mine, but not for the same reasons as I had when I was younger. Okay, when I was younger, like I was saying earlier, I wanted to get to a bag so that I could flex and just get material things, get the Gucci belt, get a nice car, things like that to flex on people. But now my goals are different, okay? Now my goals are more centered around my relationship. The reason why I want to get to a bag, hold on, let me finish fixing this bed. Okay, the reason why I want to get to a bag is because I want to ensure, and once again, this will resonate with all my people who are in a long distance relationship, I want to ensure without a shadow of a doubt that I never have to watch my girlfriend walk around that corner again. Alright, if you're in a long distance relationship, you felt that, alright? You know exactly what I'm talking about. At the airport or wherever you are, okay? If you've seen your partner walk around that corner, or if you've been the partner who's walked around that corner, then you know, alright? If you know, you know. And if you don't know, hopefully you never find out, because that shit sucks. Especially having to do it twice in 1 year. Terrible. I want to make sure that that never happens again. And the only way that I can make sure that that never happens again, in my mind, is making sure that I'm in a financial position to where that never has to happen again, okay? Where I don't ever have to worry about running out of money because I'm in another country and I can't work or whatever. I mean, I'm still gonna be making videos no matter where I'm at. So I feel like I'll always be making money, but I still just wanna have enough of a nest egg to where I just don't even have to think about money anymore. I don't have to think about the financial constraints or the potential financial constraints of just being in a long distance relationship, or rather being physically together with my partner. And yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. That right there, that reason, that one goal that I have of being with my partner in physical union together, that's what inspires me to do NoFap, and that is what inspired me to get out of bed today, as well as on those other 50% days. Now, that is my long-term goal with NoFap. Okay, and I do believe you need to have a long-term goal. I call that goal a pull. I don't even call that motivation, I call that inspiration. What inspires you to do NoFap? What inspires you to work out? What inspires you to implement these other self-improvement practices? Okay, what inspires you to brush your teeth every day? For most people, it's probably that you'd like to have white teeth and not have cavities. That's what inspires you to brush your teeth. That's your pull. It's something that comes from the future. Now, your push, on the other hand, that's the other side. That's the motivation. What motivates you? What motivates you to brush your teeth? Well, you don't want bad breath. That's what motivates you to brush your teeth. I believe that when it comes to NoFap, or any self-improvement practice for that matter, but especially something like NoFap, a restrictive practice, something that involves you not doing something that you do want to do, that sort of discipline, I believe that you do need to have a push and a pull. So I already told you what my pull is, but what's my push? My push is the short-term benefits of doing NoFap. You see, one of the ways in which NoFap really helps you to elevate your life, one of the most impactful and potent benefits of NoFap, is it encourages present moment awareness and present moment appreciation. Now, if you've been following my channel for long enough, you've most certainly heard me talk about present moment awareness and or present moment appreciation. But if you haven't been following my channel for the past year and a half or 2 years, what does that really entail? Why is presence so important? Well, the reason why it's so important is because life is only ever experienced in the present moment. Okay, that goal that you have, that pull, that inspiration that you're working towards in the future will be experienced in the present moment. The future does not exist. Its only existence is here in your mind. The experience of the future occurs in the present moment. Even when you get to the future, you'll still be in the present. At one point, the year 2023, I think it's 2023, right? I hope it is. At one point, the year 2023 was a thought in your mind. It was a figment of your imagination until it matched or aligned with the present moment. And now you experience it on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, it's still somewhat of a figment of your imagination, just like all human-made concepts. But the point that I'm making is that the present moment is all you'll ever experience, and until you get to that future present moment, you have to use this present moment to build that present moment. Okay, that future life that you're envisioning, that inspiration that you have, the pull factor, that is created in the here and now by leveraging the present moment. leveraging your time, using this present moment to do something that your future self will thank you for once he experiences or she experiences that present moment. Presence is power, presence is peace, presence is freedom. And NoFap helps you be more present. How does it do this? It helps you do this by, to my point earlier, desexualizing your mind. Alright, more often than not, when you're a man and you're a healthy and fertile man, a young man especially, whose testosterone is pretty much at its peak level, you think a lot about sex. And I'm not saying that there's anything inherently wrong with enjoying sex, indulging in sex, or thinking about it in moderation, but the problem is a lot of men lack balance, and everything that they do is done with the intention of getting sex rather than finding love, right? And the reason why this is problematic is because if you're thinking about sex, that means you're not having it. You're like, what does that mean, Jordan? Let me hold on real quick. Let me put you on game, all right? This is something you probably haven't thought about that much because you've been thinking about sex, okay? When you think about sex, what does that mean? It means that you're not having sex, because if you were having sex, you wouldn't be thinking about it, you'd be doing it. Okay, and this is true of a lot of different things in life. Almost everything that you do. If you're thinking about it, that means that you're probably not doing it. Because it's very hard, it's very difficult to do something and think about it at the same time. That is, if you're doing it from a place of presence, i.e. the flow state. Alright, if you play sports, for example, let's say you play basketball. Alright, if you hoop enough, you've probably had an experience like this before, where you're playing ball, maybe you're missing your shots, you're just having a regular game, and all of a sudden you flip a switch, and you stop thinking about things, you get out of your head, and you have what I would consider to be a spiritual experience, where all of a sudden you're draining half-court shots with people all upon you, and they can't do anything to guard you. I've had many moments like that, and my friends can attest to this, where I've hit some bullshit shots that I shouldn't have hit because I wasn't thinking about it. And because I wasn't thinking about it, I no longer placed the limiting beliefs on myself that one shot was easier than another shot. It was all the same. It was all the same because everything in life is one. That's a different discussion and a deeper topic for a different day. But the point that I'm making is that when you desexualize your mind, that means that you free up a lot of mental bandwidth, probably 80 or 90% of your mental bandwidth, to be present in whatever it is that you're doing. And in freeing up that mental bandwidth to focus on what you're doing instead of what you'd like to be doing, you can do it better. And when you do it better, you actually see results from what you're doing. Okay, you get better workouts, which we'll touch on that later. Or you create better art, which we'll also touch on that later. The point that I'm making is that presence is the key to building your dream life. And NoFap helps you desexualize your mind to be more present. A lot of men have this misconception that if you do NoFap, you'll think about sex more. And it's usually men who have never done NoFap that say stuff like that. If we're being honest, okay, if you've gotten to 90 days of NoFap or semen retention, and you can say that all you thought about was sex during that time, which, again, is because you weren't doing anything impactful with your time. It's just like taking creatine and not working out and expecting to get gains. It doesn't work that way. But if you've gotten to 90 days on NoFap and you were doing all of the other practices and you genuinely did not see any change in your life whatsoever, or any shift in philosophy or mentality, then you're the exception. All right, you are the exception, not the rule, because your mind works differently. I'm not saying that you're any worse or better than anyone, but your mind definitely works differently. Because if you go 90 days on NoFap, and on particularly, if you can't do NoFap, abstaining from pornography. If you can go 90 days where you abstain from pornography and social media, your mindset will change. Okay, you won't be thinking about sex anymore. You'll be thinking about the goals that you have. And you'll think more about that pull, and because of that, you'll be more present in that push. And one of the best ways to harness presence, in my experience, is through meditation. That being said, let's go ahead and meditate together. Okay, 2 minutes. That's all I ask of you. Let's meditate for 2 minutes to harness that presence, to let the information that I just gave to you seep into your subconscious mind. Follow my lead, or don't. But most important thing is that you do it. Just close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Okay, but actually close your eyes and do this. It's kind of weird to just watch me meditate. Just close your eyes and meditate with me. Okay, I think that might have been a little longer than 2 minutes, but it's fine. If you want to keep going, you can pause the video and keep going on your own time. But presence. Okay, presence is power, presence is peace, presence is potential. It's infinite potential. Because in this present moment, you are limitless, you are boundless. Your thoughts are what create limitations. Thoughts and beliefs, those are your limiting factors. Instead of thinking about how you can learn to believe that your goal, your pull is possible, think about how you can remove the belief that it's not possible. Because anything is possible in life for anyone. The key is removing the limiting beliefs. Right now, in your head, when I just said that last sentence, you thought about examples to prove me wrong. You might be commenting them right now. That's what you need to focus on. You need to work on
the mechanism which caused you to go into defense mode. Because right now, what you're doing is you are defending the beliefs which are not serving you in your life. I had to go through it as well. Okay, I was defending my own limiting beliefs. And one day I realized they're not defending me. So why should I defend them? It doesn't make sense. That's not a reciprocal relationship. So start thinking about how you can remove your limiting beliefs by being present. And truthfully, you already know how because I've given you the answer. NoFap. NoFap plus meditation work absolute wonders. Okay, that combination will change your life in ways that you never thought possible. Okay, now I'm no stranger to limiting beliefs. Aside from the fact that I've gotten to 159,000 subscribers on YouTube when at one point I didn't think I could get to 1,000 subscribers or even 500 subscribers, this right here is a great example of how presence helps you overcome limiting beliefs. You see, there was a point in time when my back was so messed up that I couldn't even do this, okay? I couldn't even touch my shin from this position. I don't even think I could sit in this position. Now, I can do this. I can touch my toes and actually hold that stretch, which I will do right now because it's part of my stretching routine every single day. I do this every day now. Just 2 years ago, I didn't think this was possible for me. I thought that I would never be able to do this again. How was I able to make that transition? Well, I'll tell you how. I went to a yoga class last year. This was around probably April or May 2022. I went to this yoga class and I talked to the yoga instructor afterwards. The yoga instructor was this lady who I had never talked to or seen before, but I told her about my back problems and asked her for advice. And she told me that she had had a condition. I don't remember what the condition was called, but I don't know why I'm out of breath right now. Being out of breath from stretching is crazy, but anyways, the condition basically made her confined to her bed. She had to have people help her get out of bed, use the bathroom, eat, just do the most basic tasks. So she was much worse off than I was, and yet she was over here doing these yoga poses like it was nothing. And I remember it blew my mind because, like I said, I thought that I was going to be stuck in the position that I was in forever. But she basically helped me transcend the limiting belief by realizing that, wait a minute, if she could do that, if she could go from being bedridden, which I'm not bedridden, if she could go from being bedridden to being more flexible than I've ever been, then I should be able to touch my toes, which is something that I used to be able to do anyways, right? And I'm saying this to say that a lot of times your limiting beliefs simply prevent you from taking the proper action with the proper amount of presence in order to see the results. That's really all limiting beliefs do. Okay, limiting beliefs don't make it impossible for you to achieve your goal. They simply make it very, very difficult for you to take the action or stick with the action which will help you see your goal into fruition. You see, people talk about the law of attraction, and I'm a big proponent of the law of attraction, best believe that. Ooh, hold on real quick, I'm catching a cramp. I feel like I'm giving birth, but the thing is, the law of attraction is nothing without action. You can't spell attraction without action. You have to take inspired action, but you can't take inspired action unless you remove the limiting beliefs, unless you break through the glass ceiling. And in my case, as you can see, I've broken through the glass ceiling. This is just, oh my God. Okay, this is probably not the best example, but this is just one example of how limiting beliefs can prevent you from achieving whatever it is that you see yourself doing in your mind, or having the experience that you'd like to have. Let me give you another example. Okay, this right here, this is a guitar that my sister gave me when I was 19 years old. And she told me, I'll give you this guitar under one condition. You have to learn how to actually play it. Now, my favorite song of all time is Best Part by Daniel Caesar. And if you remember, around 2019, you probably don't remember, okay? You weren't following me back then, let's be real. But if you had been following me back then, you might have remembered that in some of my vlogs, I tried to play best part, but to no avail. And that was largely because I had the limiting belief that I just couldn't play guitar, because I had never really tried it before. I didn't believe that it was possible for me. And because of that, I didn't practice. I didn't take inspired action because I didn't see why the inspired action was worth my time. And a few vlogs ago, I talked about how discipline comes from optimism. In order to have discipline, you have to believe that what it is that you're doing will actually work. All right, if I told you right now, and I'm gonna play guitar for you in a second, okay? I know you're waiting for me to do that, but if I told you right now that if you uploaded 30 more videos, you would get one of these, what would you do? You'd probably upload 20 videos today and then 10 tomorrow. And be like, Jordan, where's my plaque? All right, the plaque is in here. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And if you can hold it in your hand, you can keep it in your life. And that's what I've experienced firsthand through all of these different endeavors. Okay, look, I'm no Jimi Hendrix, but I can play a little bit of guitar. It's a little out of tune, but you get the idea, all right? When I was younger, I could not have even imagined myself playing guitar like this. And this is with no practice. I haven't been playing guitar recently. Only reason why I can do this is because I fixed this. I removed the limiting beliefs, and now I can play guitar, now I can touch my toes, and now I can talk to a camera and make a living doing so.
In the next lecture, you're gonna learn how to increase your reach on Facebook, because that's the #1 marketing problem when it comes to Facebook marketing. See you in the next lecture.
So, in yesterday's vlog, I think it was yesterday's vlog, I don't know, bro, I've been just filming, I kind of lose track of the days, but in yesterday's vlog, I talked about the importance of having the right information. Now, to my point earlier, okay, if you don't have an optimistic mentality, if you're being held back by your limiting beliefs, then you're not going to take the proper action. And a lot of times the proper action is you seeking out and finding the right information. Okay, right now I'm taking this social media marketing masterclass, but a few months ago or a year ago, I didn't think marketing was a skill that I could acquire. I didn't think that I could be good at marketing or sales or copywriting or anything like that, because I just figured I didn't have the personality for it. I always thought that in order to be good at marketing and sales and all of that, you have to be controversial, you have to be extroverted, you have to be all of these traits, which I am not. And you see how that one limiting belief prevented me from learning these skills, which if I had had these skills a few years ago, could have probably made me a millionaire by this point at 23 years old. You see how your limiting beliefs prevent you from fulfilling your maximum potential within the time frame that you'd like to fulfill it in? Okay, I'm saying this to say that you need to be present enough to transcend the limiting beliefs. Again, it's not necessarily about believing that you'll be rich. It's more so about letting go of the limiting belief, which tells you that you can't get rich. And in doing so, you'll naturally find the belief that tells you that you can and will be rich. And that, in a lot of ways, you already are rich. And gratitude journaling will help with that belief as well. Now, NoFap has a twofold benefit in this instance, okay? And what I mean by that is, on one hand, NoFap helps you be more present so that you can get past the limiting beliefs which are preventing you from achieving your goals, or preventing you from choosing your goals rather. But the act of doing NoFap also gives you that positive reinforcement. It helps you find that belief that you can actually do that thing that you might not have thought that you could do. And I know this from firsthand experience. Okay, the first time I tried NoFap, this is kind of embarrassing to talk about, but the first day that I tried NoFap, it was March 31st, 2020. My friend told me about it. And I told myself, oh, that sounds easy. I'm gonna just do NoFap, right? And I relapsed the same day. The same exact day. Not even 10 hours later, I had already relapsed. And I remember lying in my bed, just thinking to myself, what the fuck? Okay, how is this possible? How is it possible that something has gripped me to the point that I can't even really go a day without doing it? From there on in, I think I went 2 weeks and then 9 months, and then you know the rest of the story after that. But I'm saying this to say that NoFap helps you transcend limiting beliefs, because the way that we're wired as men is we are wired to think sexually. So when you can overcome your biological programming, you can overcome anything. You can overcome any natural man-made obstacle that's on your path because you've managed to overcome your own biology. NoFap. Okay, NoFap is, for a lot of people, it's not the key. Okay, again, this right here, these actions that you take, hold on, make sure that you can see this clearly. These actions that you take, those are the key. Okay, that daily routine that I've been showing you every single day this month. But NoFap is the accelerant. I don't know if that's actually a word, but it's the accelerant. Now, another example of a limiting belief that I had at one point was my ability to learn a new language. Okay, I didn't believe that I was capable of learning a new language. And to somebody from Europe, for example, this doesn't even make sense because you're more than likely bilingual at least. But as somebody who grew up in America, this is the norm, okay? I don't know what only being able to speak one language is called, but not being bilingual or multilingual, that's the norm. And so because I hadn't been exposed to that, the idea of being bilingual, I had been exposed. My mom is, I think, trilingual or even more. But because most of the people that I know who were born and raised here in America don't speak multiple languages, I just figured that I had to be like that too. And then once I started talking to my girlfriend more, who is actually younger than me by a little over a year, once I started talking to her more, and I really realized that, wow, sometimes she corrects me in my own language. That let me know that, okay, I must have the capacity to learn another language. It must be possible. It might take a while, but it's possible. That being said, let's go ahead and do this Duolingo.
17 vogels komen naar Nederland.
17 vogels komen naar Nederland. 17. 17. 17. 17. Had me scared for a second there.
18 of 19 bruine beren.
18 of 19 bruine beren. 18 or 19 brown bears. She wears 20 coats. Ze draagt 20. How do you say coats? Oh no. Tas? Where's that bag? We're gonna get this right, bro. I'm getting this perfect lesson today. Okay, we're removing the limiting beliefs. Coats. I'm not gonna cheat either. Black men don't cheat. 20 coats. I want to say it's jassen. I'm gonna just say jassen. Quit playing with me. Quit playing with me. Perfect lesson. Perfect lesson. Send my girl another gift. Okay, today is it's not our real anniversary, but technically it's our anniversary. It's our first anniversary. It was November 10th when we became official, but it was November 11th for her, and we just agreed that November 11th sounded cooler. But send for that. 312 days. Quit playing with me. Now, like I was saying earlier, one of my friends told me about NoFap. Okay, March 31st, 2020. I'll never forget that day. We were at a park in his neighborhood. He told me about NoFap, and one of the things that he told me that NoFap would do for me, and this is the one that really caught my attention at the time, so you really want to pay attention to this. One of the things that he told me that NoFap would do for me was that it would make me more creative. Now, at the time, I think I had just started dabbling in poetry a little bit, and I was also kind of in the process of really trying to go all in on YouTube, and those were kind of my only creative endeavors. But over time, I really saw the effects of NoFap in terms of my creativity. Okay, Soul Shock in particular, I wrote that whole book while on NoFap. Ego Death, I don't think I was on NoFap for a good portion of it. But Soul Shock, I was definitely on NoFap. And the creative process of that book felt way different than the creative process for Ego Death and even the book that I'm writing right now, which, by the way, just want to give you a heads up. You can read Soul Shock for free. Okay, all you need to do is go to my website, go to the newsletter section of my website, you'll see the tab at the top, or you can just go to jordan-green.com/free gift and it'll take you straight to that page, or click the link in my description. Go to that page on my website, sign up for my email list, and I will personally email you a copy, an audiobook and ebook copy of Soul Shock, the introduction. And then if you want to read the rest of the book, the poetry portion of the book, you can go to my Jordan Green poetry page, which is the only featured channel on this channel. Go to my channel page and it'll be the only featured channel there. And you go to the playlist section of that channel, you'll see a playlist called Soul Shock, which at the moment that's the only playlist there. And just watch that playlist front to back. And that's the whole rest of the book. So you can literally read that whole book for free and see for yourself what NoFap can do for you in terms of creativity. But if that's not enough to prove to you that NoFap makes you more creative, I have something else to show you. Okay, like I said earlier, today is technically me and my girlfriend's anniversary, but tomorrow is our real anniversary, and I haven't shown her this yet, but I wrote a poem about our relationship for our anniversary, and I want to share that poem with you. Okay, because let's be real, you're sitting here watching these vlogs, you're coming with me through my daily life, just doing all of these tasks. You deserve to see this, all right? You deserve to see the real stuff. That being said, let me go ahead and show you this poem that I wrote yesterday. A full year around the sun, with the one who found me, and chose to surround me with her love and affection at my lowest of points, in the harshest of lessons when depression had bound me, to contusions compounding the confusion surrounding my purpose, made me feel as worthless as the paper I didn't possess. To say I was stressed was more than an understatement. The same is true of my lover's patience. Her vibration was felt throughout all the years that we spent in a friendship which has turned into tears over having to say goodbye, or rather, see you later, because my love grows greater with each moment passing. A year worth of moments lends a love everlasting, and that's why I'm fasting from release of relations. I'll save it for her with my rations of patience. Now, in addition to the enhanced creative prowess, for lack of a better term, something else that my friend told me that NoFap would do for me on March 31st, 2020, was he told me that it would help me build muscle mass. Now, he never really explained why this is, but I think I've figured it out. Okay, I think the reason why NoFap can, and I say can because it won't necessarily help you build muscle mass if you're not working out and doing the things that you need to do to build muscle mass, but it can help you build muscle mass in the sense that NoFap gives you more energy, right? And I mean that in pretty much every sense of the word. Think about it like this. Biologically, what is our primary goal as men? Or really as humans? Our primary goal is reproduction. So that being said, if we're not reproducing, but the biological urge is still there, even if we're desexualizing our minds, mind you, what does that mean? How will our bodies and our minds respond to that? Our bodies and our minds are going to give us more energy to perform what we need to perform in order to find, for lack of a better term, sexual intercourse. Okay, if you want to have sexual intercourse, there are certain things that you logically would think that you need to do. One of them being getting into good physical condition, right? From a primal standpoint, if you're in good physical shape, then that means that you're theoretically a better protector, a better provider, so on and so forth. In other words, you're tapping into your primal urges for mating, for reproduction, by depriving yourself of PMO. And in doing so, you will give yourself more energy to physically get yourself in good shape so that you can hunt or whatever else primal men used to do. Now, obviously, we don't necessarily have to do that, right? If you have access to technology, you're not primal. Okay, I'm vegan myself. I don't even eat meat. But the point that I'm making is the body doesn't know the difference. That being said, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, today is leg day after all, so you might as well go ahead and get straight to it. Full leg and shoulder day coming soon. Stay tuned.